Be the Messenger, the Courageous Hearts Collective podcast, hosted by Dr. Chad Starks.
Peace, power, and purpose, family. Welcome back to Be the Messenger, the Courageous Hearts Collective podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Chad. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. To all my new listeners, welcome aboard. I'd like to thank you for the text messages, the comments on the posts, the phone calls, the emails, the conversations. I just like to say thank you for all the support. We are now on Mini-Sode 6 of the Becoming a Messenger series, and I too am grateful to be walking this journey with you. So just want to acknowledge all the viewers, and I ask that you pass it on to your friends and colleagues if you feel like they can connect to what we're trying to accomplish here. I also would like to thank you all for again stepping up and taking the challenge this week. This one was a little different, right? This one was about stepping outside your comfort zone of sameness. We talked about that soul craving the sameness and that like-minded and places where we've been conditioned to think it's safe because they get me, I get them. It's a good fit. And it takes a lot of courage. And as we say here at the Courageous Hearts Collective, it's okay to have fear. It's okay to be afraid, but let's show up anyway. So thank you all for stepping outside your comfort zone and walking into a new space of challenging your confirmation bias, really about what diversity is. It's a huge step. It's a big step to strengthen that spirit, to strengthen your confidence, to strengthen your resolve as we walk this journey of becoming a messenger. It is so good to build this strength for the systemic intelligence that's necessary as we move through the courageous hearts to understand exactly how to be messengers of social justice. So just want to say thank you all and hope that you continue to take the challenges. Those of you that have the Courageous Hearts Collective book, Courageous Hearts, a 52-week devotional guide to social justice through self-development. I hope that the journaling is giving you some solace and peace in your spirit and your soul. Those of you that don't have it, be sure to grab you a copy. So, in Mini-Sode 5, we introduced the diversity pillar, the cuss word I like to call it. And we talked about basically redefining how we think about diversity, how we see diversity, and we settled on understanding that it is much more than race, class, or any type of orientation. That diversity is really about different ways of thinking, different ways of being, different ways of living. And I'm going to ask you to shut out that noise, that systemic noise of those institutions of media and politics that are forcing you to think that diversity is limited to just a single identity or a number of group identities. It's much different than that. But we realize that difference is essential and diversity is the resource. So this episode, we're going to expand upon the diversity pillar. We're going to do it a little different, though. This word has been weaponized, and I mean it is affecting legislation, policies, and we all being impacted. And we're going to talk about those folks that have lost their jobs and what type of pain and the trickle-down effect can that be creating for people with lost wages, people that have now allowed themselves to doubt their worthiness, people that are looking for employment to provide for themselves and their families and their communities. It's real. And for those of us that have shied away from the opportunity to invest in what diversity looks like, I just want to remind you, as Dr. King says, what does not affect you directly will affect you indirectly. This is us as humans, as beings, that we all are impacted by what's happening right now in this country and in the world. And I ask that again, that you open your minds, you open your hearts, and you open your spirits today as we dig deeper into the third pillar on Be the Messenger framework, diversity. Healing first, justice always, reform forever. Budgets have been cut. DEI jobs have been lost. Qualifications have been questioned. People have been fired from jobs because of their racial or gender identity. Not to mention the 300,000 black women that have lost their jobs. As your transformational soul coach, I see your wounds. I can't imagine what that must feel like personally when you set your life up one way and because of the political winds or political shift, your life has now been challenged to go in a different direction. So we see you and we're offering to help you heal from it. But the thing that I know is that this is what I like to call divine clarification. This is where you can clearly see that the external validation, the external work can be canceled easily, depending on who's in power and what perspective and what message that they are asking us to follow. This is why here at the collective, we're focusing on an uncancelable, can't be canceled with internal vocation. Now, vocation, I know. Most of us think of vocation as a trade or profession. We're going to go a little deeper today. And we're going to talk about the biblical vocation. We're talking about purpose, divine calling from God. I've had a number of you hit me up and say, hey, I see you finally walking in your calling. And it made me think. All the DEI trainings, the workshops, the speeches, this positioned me to step into this calling much more fruitfully. But I want to make sure we understand that the biblical definition of vocation is about your personal identity. It is about your personal identity walking in the light of serving God and serving others. And it doesn't come with an asterisk. It doesn't come with, oh, Dr. Starks, I got a mortgage to pay. It comes with serving others regardless of the consequences. I said it. I said it because I've been in the room with so many academics, corporate executives, friends, foes, and none of them have a problem with hearing my message. None of them have a problem with understanding that diversity and the definition that we give is necessary. But in creeps this little fear thing that if they do the right biblical vocation, then they're going to lose what they have. I can remember giving a speech for a school district, and I was asking my teachers, just imagine if you did the right thing, what that would look like. Man, they've done a very good job of turning morality, value, some respects, religion, the messages from religion, and purpose. They've done a very good job of turning those words on their head and influencing us in an informal and formal way of thinking that you can actually do this work as a job. This is not a job. And that's why those jobs were so easily cut based off the political winds. And people are hurting. We all are hurting from it. But that micro, that direct, that general deterrence of those folks that have totally lost their way because their identity was tied to a profession, that pain is deep. Imagine being empowered healing, and connecting yourself to that biblical vocation, and knowing that you're going to be protected if you walk in the light of doing diversity. That if you know that it's not right, then you stand up for it. I've been to so many academic conferences and presentations have been made, and you break out in the rooms, and we can all get together in the afternoons after we've gone through our toxic spiritual spaces of hearing people attack DEI. And we sit in silence until we get in the homogeneity spaces of the like-mindedness, and we begin to complain about what we heard. It's amazing that my coach in JV football, he used to call it bull sessions. Rest in peace, Coach Woodard. That's what we have. How many of you actually have these backstage conversations where your spirit was interrupted about doing the work, saying what needed to be said about the work of where DEI lands, and you stay silent because you don't want a target on your back, because you don't want to lose? Are we losing now? Are we losing because the political sphere has changed? Take a look. I'm just curious. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to put yourselves, have the support of the community, to put yourselves in position, some relevance of power, and you still make the same decisions for the oppressors? You claim to focus on the marginalized until it's time for you to put up, because that external identity of that job or profession will outweigh the vocation. That's the problem. This work, I've said it a million times, if you wait to get to work, to do this work, wait to get to your job, to do this work, it's too late. This is not, you can't turn this light switch on and off. You got to be this. You got to walk in this. You got to see it in the grocery stores. You got to see it at the mall. You got to see it at the gym. You got to see it in the cafeteria. You got to see it in your neighborhood. You got to see it in your churches. You got to see it in elementary schools. You got to see it on your teams. You got to see it in your families. How many of us are answering the divine phone call about your purpose, about your personal identity being attached to the vocation of what real justice work looks like? I don't have many fears, y'all. Those of you that know me personally, you know I will leave. I will leave if I feel like my spirit is being disconnected from my purpose. I'm that afraid. I often share intimately with those that are close to me that one of my biggest fears is when it's my phone call, my homecoming, and I'm standing there. I just keep hearing my mother's words. Chad Starks, did you do your part? Chad Starks, did you do your part? Then what you worry for? Let God do his. Let's touch on these emotions again, that temporary fuel. That temporary fuel that some of us have used to drive the careers or the jobs around the work. What happens now? And we see it clearly. What happens now when that energy switches? When those emotions are no longer empowering you? Your spirit retreats. The businesses retreat. Schools have retreated. The one colleague that reached out to me from that grant work shared, B. Chad, I'm so disappointed in so many of my colleagues that have given in because of money. And I shared with her. They didn't give in. They just no longer can hide it. Companies, organizations claim to be about the human spirit of difference, of love. Gave in, because the political winds have shifted to say, no, 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 no. Somebody telling you what to believe in. Money. They retreated, which supports the systemic lie of sameness. You wanted that. It was easy to send out a referendum and say, if you do this, we're going to take this, which always was about money. It's sad. It's sad. Just 7 months ago, we were having different conversations, different relationships. And in those same spaces, they have retreated to support the systemic lie. So I'm going to ask you, are you going to let this stunt your growth? Are you going to let all this chaos stunt your growth? Or are you going to take advantage of this opportunity to attach yourself to the spiritual vocation? I've mentioned that courage is a decision. It's a skill, something that you can build. Where my courageous folks at? Where are you? You going to let this stunt your growth? Or you going to take advantage of the opportunity to show that you can grow in the time of pain? Well, I got some suggestions on how to go about doing that, right? The messenger method, self-reflection. When the system fails you, reflect upon this. When the system fails you, what part of your commitment to the work was attached to your feelings or some external reward? Did you get on the committee so you could get tenure and make your curriculum vitae look good? Did you take the director position because you actually thought it'll look good on your resume? Or did you take the extra $10,000 because it was a bonus, because nobody else in the department or the organization would do it? Or you actually wanted to impress upon the marginalized groups that you wasn't sexist or racist? What was the external reward? I want you to reflect upon that, because there was a lot, there were plenty of people that were screaming, DEI, DEI, DEI. I'm with it. Not screaming so loud now. So what part of it? What part of your emotional attachment was tied to the work? What part of your reward system was tied to the work? Self-awareness, healing, labeling it, owning it. Awareness, having that truthful conversation with yourself that I did that. I'm in a position and I am scared. Some of you have shared with me, man, B, I thought we could do this. I was going to do that, man, but I got in there and, man, they ain't ready. Oh, man, I thought that if we did and that, man, these folks don't want to listen to that. Awareness. The last one, the self-consciousness, the empowerment. How many of you have the courage to show up and move past the so-called chaos? How many of you have the courage to admit that you need some help? That right now, your emotions are fleeting and you don't know what to do. You're scared. You don't know what to do in your personal life, your professional life. How many of you are going through that right now? How many of you feel like your spirit is in chaos? Well, we got something for you. We're asking you to step into the, we're going to call it some holy anger. Yeah. I used to pose the question in my speaking engagements like, why you ain't mad? Like Tupac, right? Why y'all not mad about the way we are mistreating each other? We need to use that holy anger as the fuel the right way, because that's the internal spiritual rage that's needed for the healing, to say that we will not stand for injustice. That holy anger says that we will not stand for injustice. The messenger method: self-reflection, self-awareness, and self-consciousness. This the empowerment, y'all. It's go time. The world needs us. We need you. We need each other. Healing first, justice always, reform forever. This holy anger is rooted in conviction and sustained by principles. If your advocacy is draining you, then that is unhealed trauma looking for validation. There's a way to go about this, and that's why we need you healed. Healthcare, criminal justice, mass incarceration, poverty. Those systems, they cannot be fixed by external validation alone. We need healed people to do this work. We need you implementing the framework. We need you being comfortable with your identity, understanding your vocation, and understanding the accountability that it takes. It's going to take some work, and I'm not here to tell you that it's easy. It is actually hard, and you're going to lose some things. But if you take that DIE and say that there's some things that are holding you back that you need to get rid of, it's an assets way of thinking about doing this work. Some of that may be family, friends, jobs, things that were separating you from your wholeness. The perfect opportunity is now. And I'm asking, are you ready to walk on this journey? Are you ready to own your vocation in the justice work? Whew. Heavy. Heavy. Let's take a breath. Be patient with me. Let's just take a breath. I want you to inhale courage, exhale fear. Inhale courage and exhale fear. Diversity is not a threat. It's not a weapon. It's a mirror to show you how to do it right. So if you will accept this call to action, this challenge this week, I would be greatly appreciated. A couple things I want us to do this week. Number one, I want you to journal and your diversity declaration. How you going to show up from your soul and not your ego or your personality this week? Write about it. I want you to show up from your soul, not your ego or your personality. Secondly, I want you to share this episode with somebody that you know is struggling to find their voice. Share it with them. Say, hey, I think the boy got something you want to hear. Lastly, I want you to really honor a perspective that's different from your own. Challenge yourselves, like food, language, a thought. Just challenge yourself to honor a different perspective than your own. Family, this work is hard. Family, the politics will pass. If you know anything about this country and the world, it is most often on a pendulum switch. It will pass, but the purpose will remain the same. And remember, be courageous, be authentic, be love, be the messenger.